to face. I embrace debate. I don't make mistakes. I just make my case. Drops mic when I'm done. One more can I say? Not bite to my tongue. I don't like the taste. I'm on in the morning. I own my opponent. I'm always in the zone. Either zoned out of zone. And then we could get it poppin'. Pick the topic if you want. Skip and shannon. Skip and hoppin'. Took these sports and made them profit. All right. Undisputed.
Welcome to Undisputed, live from Los Angeles. I'm Jason McIntyre here with Greg Jennings and Rob Parker. Gentlemen, good to be here, isn't it? Should we do one of these?
We
Skip
should.
and Shannon?
Absolutely.
Yes,
Filling in for the guys. It's great to be here.
I'm a little upset that Greg outdressed us today. He is the
that's
best
a
dressed
constant.
man here.
Is that right? What color is that?
Sharp
That's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
What is that?
You know, it's a little something, a little teal,
Little teal?
Yeah, let's stay focused.
Yeah,
Jim.
Rob, I had to butter him up because we're going to destroy him on Antonio Brown in about 20 minutes.
Is this a tag team effort today?
I don't need any help, but at any rate, hey, guys.
I don't need any help.
The Cowboys, the Dallas Cowboys, Skip's team, had their preseason debut over the weekend. Running back Tony Pollard, who drew rave reviews from Jerry Jones, who said he felt confident Pollard could, quote, carry the load as Zeke continues to hold out. Dak also looked decent, right? Going 4 for 4 on his only series. Still has not signed an extension, and The Athletic is reporting that Dak turned down an offer that would have paid him $30 million a year. That would have put Dak in the top 6 highest paid QBs based on average salary. Guys, he is currently set to make just $2 million a year. Rob, I'll start with you. Is Dak worth $30 million a year?
No way, no how. I figured I'd get it started right off the top. And I'm not talking about market value and what quarterbacks make. I get all that. And if Dak can get that and is able to sign that kind of deal, I understand that. Because I saw in Detroit Matthew Stafford get paid over and over and over, and they still haven't won a playoff game, right? Because you put up numbers, and it's hard to replace a quarterback once you have them. So I get all of that. And my question is, was that $30 million in pistachios, or is that real money? Because if Dak Prescott really got offered $30 million and didn't sign, I'm shocked. Because I think that would be a great deal. Now, if his people are holding out saying, here's a guy who's won 2 of the last 3 NFC East Division titles, right? And has won all these games. I think only Tom Brady's won more games than him the last 2 years. And all these other things, and they're saying, we want to cash out. We want the biggest deal that's out there. And normally, it does happen to people if you wait. You know, it's always depending on your timing, not always just your stats. So the last quarterback contract is usually the biggest quarterback contract, just by the nature of the market. But in this case, when you look at him and what he's been able to do and his stats, it's hard for me to think that he should be paid that kind of money, because recently The Athletic did a big piece where they talked about 55 execs, coaches, GMs, all kinds of people, and he was in the 3rd tier of quarterbacks because everything has to work for him in order for him to be that guy. I just don't believe he can win games by himself. And I'm not trying to say he's Aaron Rodgers, but you know this, Greg, because you played up there. There were teams with bad defenses, maybe some other personnel where you wish they had some other players or skilled players, and still they would be in the mix because Aaron Rodgers was the quarterback. I don't think that's the case. You look at his numbers prior to Amari Cooper, right? And the same thing. Look at his numbers when Ezekiel Elliott's not running the football. It's night and day. In the playoff game against Dallas, when the running game was stopped, the Cowboys were basically stopped. They were not going to win that game. So do I think he's a $30 million plus quarterback? I do not. I wouldn't pay him that kind of money. He'll eventually get it because of the market, but I wouldn't pay him.
Jennings, tell me you're not on his side with this.
I'm not on Rob's side. I absolutely am not. I definitely believe he is worth the $30 million. And this is what I don't like when we as media or as analysts start to put everything together. We put what we want to put together. You can't negate what the market value of quarterbacks is. You can't eliminate that Because when you sit down at the table, if you're a general manager or Dak Prescott or his agent, you're not going to negate that. That has to come into equation. So you have to put everything in. All variables are present at that time.
What? But let me just say this. That's why I brought up the Matthew Stafford case, because my point was he has the numbers, but the Lions don't win, and he got the money. I get that. I'm not negating what the market is. You're asking me, do I think he's worth the money?
Matt Stafford was the number 1 overall pick. I think that's a bad example.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is. Matt Stafford was the number 1 overall pick. Hold on, I'll give you a better example.
Nope.
Jimmy Garoppolo. Okay, Jimmy Garoppolo signed a $28 million a year deal with the 49ers. He had accomplished nothing. Nothing. Guess why he got $28 million? Because there were no other quarterbacks on the market, guys. There was nobody. Now, the problem with Dak is Marcus Mariota could be coming up next year. Jameis Winston could be coming up next year. Andy Dalton, the Bengals could kick him to the curb. And when you look at Dak, I got to say, Rob, we are striking from the record, quarterback record. You can't use that anymore. He's a winning quarterback. The Cowboys win as a team, lose as a team.
Yes.
Okay?
But
quarterback record is irrelevant. Mark Sanchez game managed the Jets to 2 AFC title games.
Well, but
should they have paid him?
You know what? But I think you're being unfair. Did you watch those games?
I watched all of them.
He beat Tom Brady in New England in a playoff game.
I did.
I'm
the biggest
It wasn't
Jets fan
all
at the
running.
network.
I'm just saying. He won 4 road playoff games. Go look
Peyton
it
Manning?
up.
Yeah.
Go look up 4 road playoff wins by any quarterback. It doesn't happen often.
If I'm the Dallas Cowboys, and if this is true, if this is rumored to be true, then I find it hard to believe that Dak Prescott turns it down. But part of me says, you know what? If I'm Dak Prescott and I know where my trajectory is headed, I may turn this down as well. Because you mentioned it a little bit. With Amari Cooper, did his numbers improve or decline?
No, they improved.
They improved
No
drastically.
doubt. No doubt.
They improved drastically. And so you look at what he has. You can't talk about what he doesn't have anymore. You look at the pieces around him. A young Michael Gallup, a young up-and-coming guy that he can stretch the field with as well. You have now Amari Cooper, obviously a number 1 guy that he has developed a rapport with. You have in the slot now a Randall Cobb. You have Jason Witten back in the fold to really keep that core group of offensive guys as
Are
far
you
as
counting on Jason
No,
Witten?
I'm not counting on him as far as on the field, but I'm counting on him to completely manage egos and the camaraderie of that offensive unit. And then I get my center back. Like, these are all variables that mean so much to a young quarterback that is trending up. I get it. We haven't been enamored with all the woes and the wows that the Patrick Mahomes and Carson Wentz's and all these young quarterbacks can do. Dak Prescott doesn't wow us that way. But what he does do, he checks a lot of boxes. Is he available every week? Yes. Is he durable? Yes. He's taken a lot of hits. He needs to learn how to not do that, but he's proven to be durable. Can I count on him as a leader? Absolutely, I
Has
can.
he also missed throws that were wide open?
Totally.
There's a reason why 55 executives have him as a 3rd-tier quarterback.
I understand.
Despite all that you just said.
I understand
because
all of that, but I can
there's a lack of talent.
Let me explain. 55 executives. There aren't 55 owners in this league. There aren't 55 GMs in this league. There's a reason why we're talking about 55 execs, because they're not all decision makers.
Right. Hold on, Greg. I got to get back to the question. It's $30 million a year, and you mentioned a quarterback who's getting $30 million, Carson Wentz, okay? You mentioned a guy, Pat Mahomes. He won an MVP. He's going to be in line for $35, $40 million. That's the difference. Dak has never been in the MVP discussion. Okay, Carson Wentz was leading the MVP race before the ACL. He should have, right? And who are the other guys? Matt Ryan is a $30 million guy. Been to a Super Bowl, won an MVP. Another one, Russell Wilson, been to 2 Super Bowls, won
a Super Bowl.
Dak Prescott has done nothing. According to the Football Outsiders, he was the 26th rated quarterback in the league last year. When you factor in everything, opponent, down, distance, 26th rated, and you're going to give him $30 million?
Man, you guys are so on point here. I'm going to tell you how far off point you are. Look at Kirk Cousins in Minnesota with the Vikings. How much is he making a year? Exactly.
Is he a 30?
He's north of 28. Yeah. So when you look at that bar, you look at Dak Prescott and you say, well, wow, what have I done that he hasn't done?
But that's another deal that I would have never made.
I understand that.
I'm
but
saying it was a bad
to
deal.
my point.
And no, to my point is that should show you why you don't do it. Because you just went out and gave that money right to a guy who's really not on that echelon of the guys.
That's not
you
a
just
bad
mentioned.
point from Rob.
It is
and
a
let me
good
add
point.
this: Kirk
That's
Cousins
why you don't do
accomplished
it.
that in Washington.
But
Who was he throwing to in Washington? He had nobody.
But they didn't win anything in Washington. They didn't really do
They
anything
got to a playoff
other than
game.
him put up numbers.
I hear what you're saying, but the bar has been set. And Kirk Cousins is one of those guys at that position who has set the